hey, Michelle is back. I was doing some reading, but I wanted to give another experience I had, which is, something to consider, and how we've been brainwashed to believe certain things. And, it turns out it's just a bunch of bullshit and manipulation, really. That so that you can, pay a monthly fee for shit, and building the pyramid. Sorry. Remember, billions of people, and this is a conspiracy. Let me make sure I make that clear. A conspiracy theory for entertainment purposes only. Cool. So, because like I said, billions of other people are doing it. So don't come fucking with me and bothering me, because I feel bothered. If you know what I mean, stop it. Anyway, now, so we've been brainwashed and told, it's all about the credit score. It's all about the credit score. All about the credit score. And it's been drilled in our heads that, you got to get at a certain credit score. Once you're at that certain credit score level, it's like, you're like gold. If you can just build it up, get up there. That's what we've been always told, right? Well, like I said, I've had my credit score over the course of time has been low as 400, 400 numberish, in that regard. And I think after I lost some investment property, which was my primary, but I turned it into investment property, I think my credit score was maybe 500 or 600, maybe still in 500. Okay. And one day I was talking to someone on the phone, because after I retired, like I said, I'm still considering what I plan to do with the second half of my life. So I felt like, because, and then I built my credit score up to, in the 700s or something like that, right? Something like that. And that was always the magic number, if you can get up to 700, right? Right? Isn't that what we've been brainwashed and told? Stay tuned. So I figured, let me just see if I can get what is considered the golden standard of a line of credit. So over the last few years, I've been well, let me not bring that up. So anyway, I managed to build my credit score up pretty high. Like I said, in the 700s, in that range, the magic range that they tell everybody to be. And I was talking to one of my friends on the phone, and we were just talking back and forth, just talking about our situations and catching up. And then she threw that out at me. She says, "Why don't you get your line of credit, and that way you don't have to touch this or touch that. You can just let that sit there, and not touch it, until you can, because you know what your worth is. You know that you can do goddamn anything if you want to. People know that." So I said, yeah, because I like I said, I had to heal from that last job. I had to heal. And so, it took a while, almost a year. And it's always going to be a healing process. Because sometimes when the damage is done, the damage is done. And all you're trying to do is maintain. And because I know how people operate and how people act, I have to, sometimes like I keep saying it, you have to be creative, and see. And I remember I used to do this when I was a young girl too, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. So anyway, so she said, yeah, I was able to get a blah, 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 line of credit and this and that and the other. And she says, it was a cushion for me so that I didn't have to touch certain funds, blah, 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 blah. Right. I was like, okay, maybe let me do that. Let me consider that as well. I don't see why I could have that too. I was making, just as much, you see me looking around because, it's just everything's spinning, and it's just a bunch of fucking lies just spinning in the atmosphere, and people are delusional. So anyway, so I said, well, let me call my bank and see if I can go ahead and do that and blah 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 blah. And so, as always, when I used to do this stuff back in the day, call the bank and ask them, they have all my motherfucking money sitting in a particular account because they know what the fuck I have in those accounts. All right, so I said, hey, I filled out the application, and the man on the phone, remember they record these kind of conversations, right? I know that, and like I said, I know what I'm doing. So, because I was always skeptical of all that bullshit about credit score, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So I said to the representative on the phone, this is what I want. And he says, yeah, I see no problem with it. He saw no problem with what he was reviewing from my history with that particular bank. He didn't see it was a problem for me not to have a line of credit. I was like, wait, this is going way too smooth. And I know what that always is the case. It just goes so smooth in the beginning. And, they're talking about fees and this and that and the other. And that, you need to pay the fee. And then blah, blah, blah. And then it goes to, so, you pay the fees. It goes to the underwriter. And, like marketing, spinning lies. It's nothing but a bunch of fucking lies. And, anyway. And a lot of people say, well, I was able to get a line of credit. Oh, God, stop it. All right, and just consider it. This is just for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so be open to other people's experience and knowledge. If you choose to. If you don't, okay, cool. Because a line of credit also helps to continue to build your credit, by the way. That's because they always say that, how often do you pay your bills on time? Right? Isn't that what they tell you? My bills have been on time. I would say 99% of the time, all of my bills are on time. And have been for quite a while. After I lost my first property, I was able to build it all up again. So build up the credit. To as high as it's ever been. I've had my credit below 500 and still was able to function and live pretty well. Okay, that's my point. So yeah. So everything was going way too smooth, and I knew I know it was going way too fucking smooth. And I even told him about the fact that I lost my property, that first one. And he said, "Well, that shouldn't be a problem," or something to that effect. They always do that too. Oh no, that shouldn't be a problem. You get you all worked up and thinking, "Oh, okay." I knew better, right? I knew better. So the application apparently goes through. He I don't know what he said, something to the effect, he made it seem as though it was approved. I was like, It was going too smooth. Okay, I'm no fool. Okay. So because what was going to happen is they were just going to put it in my account, but take their fees, of course, regardless. You understand me? Okay. So, apparently I got approved to, they didn't, okay, let's put it this way. The representative on the phone that took my application ran everything, checked my credit scores, checked my, did everything that most people do on the application process. And it just has to go through to the underwriters, to just, do a final, because I told him everything and I was transparent and being very honest about everything. Okay, so he said, yeah. He was very positive about all of this. So it goes through, and I said, well, okay, let me give it a couple of days. And sure enough, a couple of days later, he finally gets a hold of me and says, the underwriters found something, found something in it, and they were trying to say it's because of the property I gave back to the bank. All of a sudden, that's an issue. And I said, well, I made that clear from up front what that was. And I said, why, in so many words, why wasn't it a problem then when I told you what that situation was and you didn't see a problem with it? And then he gave some rambling excuse that they had to deny the application. And I said something that I know is being held against me as well, because I know these conversations are recorded. So I said to him, yeah, I lied, and I knew I was lying. Sometimes you got to be creative. You have to be creative. Okay. I said, you know what? I'm expecting a whole lot of money. So where am I going to put all this money? I said something to the effect, yeah, all this money is coming, and I'll be able to pay it. I'll be able to pay off the loan, and I won't need the loan once this money comes in. I was lying. I was lying. Sometimes you got to be creative, and I'm sure people, are listening, had listened to that conversation because they tell you it's being recorded. Okay, and I know they've been checking out my checking account. I know that. I'm not stupid. Okay, I'm not, but you got to be creative sometimes to raise the alarm, sound the bell. Okay. So yeah, that's what I said. I said, yeah, I'm expecting a large amount of money. I need, and I said that, I kind of said to him, sir, I knew this was going to happen. I said, as soon as you found out that I was a black female, because they asked those questions, I knew what was going to happen. I knew it because he said I didn't have to answer, but I answered. Why should I be? Why should I show shame or show? They know I'm black. Okay, fuck all of that shit. They know that I was a black female, and I said that to him. I said as soon as you start doing that survey, I filled out a survey or something as part of the application process. I knew that would be the deciding factor, regardless. Okay, regardless. So here's the scam. Okay, and it is a scam, and and it's also conspiracy theory. If everybody else can spread them, I'm going to fucking spread them too. So here's the conspiracy theory, and we all have fallen for it, where these credit card companies claim that if you get their services, they'll monitor shit for you. And so what happens then? They'll monitor and protect your account for, a certain fee every month. Oh, now who wouldn't fall for that? I mean, who wouldn't, want that to happen? That you have to pay a fee for them to protect your money. Now, aren't they supposed to be protecting your money? That's interesting, because you remember your bank is supposed to be protected by, because these banks have this so-called protection where your money is protected if you have under a certain amount in it. What's that term? Let me see. Banking protection. Let me see what that shit's called. What's it called? All banking institutions, because I remember I worked for a bank. All banking institutions have this so-called protection when people put their money in their accounts, that if something were to happen fraudulently, you'll be, it's FDIC insurance. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think it's FDIC insurance, and it usually protects you if you have a certain amount in your account. Okay, all banks do that, regardless of whether you sign up for a monthly fee or not, or paying a monthly fee or not. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And it says this agency that insures deposits at member banks in case of a bank failure. FDIC insurance is backed by full faith and credit. So, FDIC insures up to $250,000 per depositor. Okay, now, most banks have that. All banks have had it. And I remember that was the thing back in the day, when there was remember that scam went on about credit, I think it was savings banks or credit card banks or whatever. You remember that? You remember that scam with that shit? You know, these people thought their money, their retirement money was safe in these savings banks. I think they were savings banks at the time. And we know what happened there. So I'm a part of the scam because, you know, because they scare you and get you raised up to this cold red level where you're panicking. Oh my God, I need to protect my money. So, I remember, you know, so I knew this was going to happen. I knew they were going to decline giving me a line of credit. So I wasn't stupid. Okay. But I knew if I said certain things, since everything's being recorded, it gets attention. You just got to do this kind of stuff. You have to counter, you know, and sometimes it might be, okay, is it considered a lie? I don't know. Is it? Is it a lie to say I got a whole bunch of money coming in and I need somewhere to put my money? I mean, it sounds like foolishness to me. And so what? I mean, why does it matter? And I'm sure they kept checking in my accounts and wondering where all this money was coming from. And I think they are still checking my account because I noticed they're moving funds from one account to another. And I don't remember signing up for them to do that, but they're doing that too. Because sometimes I just forget to move money from one account to another to pay stuff. You know, isn't that what most people do sometimes? You know, you have a checking and a savings account. You keep money in one account and just move it over every now and then. I've done that forever because it just helped me keep up with what's going on with my finances. Right? So, and they're probably like, well, where is this large amount of money this woman is supposed to be depositing? And this happened in, I think it was early 2022, I think. See, I know, like I said, I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I don't know, but I think I'm kind of thinking a little differently and kind of, you know, trying to use some creative shit. Because I know certain people, they're usually white. Because I remember this one chick I knew, you know, her credit score, I remember she said her credit score. She said, my credit score is 720. This is a while ago, about 10 years ago. And she says that the bank was begging her to take a line of credit. She didn't need it because, you know, she had a savings with a lot of money in it. And she said the bank kept begging her to accept a line of credit. And so she did, you know, and, you know, life has been fantastic to her. She has the last time I talked to her, she has a ranch and, you know, a large field of land with with horses and, you know, blah, 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 blah. You know, I hadn't talked to her in a long time. So again, and then this is what happened too. I had another account where it was like a direct deposit for my payroll check. So I had two separate accounts. I had one account with the bank for my direct deposit of my paycheck. Then I had another one that was just separate for my savings. You know, I was trying to not keep things in the same bank, but they all know that I have two separate bank accounts, even though they claim they don't. They know what kind of accounts I have. So I was considering that one bank is savings, the other one is the checking, where the money would come in, I do my thing, and then I'll put something over in the savings every now and then. So I didn't touch it. It was just a strategy, you know. But yeah. So one day the bank where I have my bank deposits, my checking deposited, I have no kind of service with them at all. I just put my paycheck in the account and pay bills and move on. Well, there was some fraudulent activity on my account. And they immediately jumped on it. Okay, they immediately jumped on it and alerted me about it. And again, I don't have to pay a monthly fee. I wasn't paying a monthly fee at all because I was having a direct deposit. You understand what I mean? They're supposed to protect your fucking money. You don't need to be paying no fucking fee for them to protect your money. Up to $250,000. Why am I paying a monthly fee? So that's how they get you. That's how they drain your money out of your accounts over time. Okay? And they do that to elderly people and black people or people of color all the time. And so when these people are ready, they've retired and they're ready to settle down, I was going to close that account because I didn't need it anymore. But I just kept it for a little bit. And then I noticed they started charging fees on it. Monthly fees on it. So I'm going to consider closing that at some point eventually. Because, I don't need two accounts now. So when the fraudulent, like I said, there was just fraudulent activity all the time from this particular bank. And immediately they would contact me and say, hey, was this like they're supposed to do? They're supposed to be protecting your money. Okay. And the other account, which is like a savings, I wasn't getting charged for nothing either. And I wasn't paying a monthly fee or nothing. And I wasn't even having a direct deposit or anything. Sometimes they'll charge you little fees here and little fees. That's how they get you. Over time, those $2 and $3, $5 do add up. So the scam is now that all of these so-called credit agencies, they realize, I want to get inside. I want to get into this business too. And so now they have a service where if you pay them a monthly fee, they're supposed to protect your account. Protect it from what though? What is these three credit agencies protecting my account from when my banks are supposed to be protecting my money up to a certain amount from fraud or from that kind of stuff? So what, you see what I'm saying? Do you see me? Do you hear me? Do you feel me? Okay. You have to be creative. All right. You have to be creative to get the truth sometimes. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you have to use means that are necessary. And if everybody wants to take everything so fucking seriously and see conspiracies in anything, okay, I'll give you one. Who hasn't said that? Hey, give me $1 million. I said that recently. And I'm sure whoever's listening to, because she said too, for some reason she's calling, somebody called. And I don't blame this person that called. This was last week. Want to know how I'm doing. Now, why the fuck does, and it was a mortgage company. Okay, that's it. And I've been paying my bills on time with them. I have no issues. None. Never. I haven't been late since I had the loan. And then out of the blue, she calls and says, that's what I say. She wants to know how I'm doing. Now, why the fuck do you care about how I'm doing? And like I said, it's not against her. I said, I'm doing fantastic. And which I was, why are you concerned about that all of a sudden out of the blue? And she says, well, something about the disaster area of Florida. I said, what is the mortgage company going to do? And she said, well, then we're going to refer you to FEMA. I said, okay, I've been there, done that. Okay, with the other storms that came through. Yeah, I went through FEMA because I had roof damage. I got a small business loan to help with stuff and then and I paid little monthly fees on it. Okay. I just decided that, because I kept being harassed by the Small Business Administration calling and harassing me. Even though I was paying well ahead of scheduled maturity, because I kept applying a lot more to it, to just get that expense out of the way. Because I know, especially after I knew I knew that other forms of income will possibly be coming in. Now, if you want to make that out of something, that's on your fucking self. Okay, so I decided, so did these people stop harassing me, calling me, emailing me? Let me just pay that off and be done with it. There was a balance on that motherfucking statement that says, if you pay this, you paid it off. Okay. A couple of weeks later, I get a statement saying I owe $13. Now, you would not believe I am still being harassed for $13. from this SBA. $13. I'm still being harassed and having emails, and they're claiming they're going to liquidate my property over $13 or liquidate something. It's a threat over $13. So I'm going to wait and see what happens with that. Okay, now, $13, and you are making threats towards what you're going to liquidate. That's the term they use, liquidates shit. Now, this is SBA. Okay, so, you just have to think a little differently. That's all I'm saying. It's not business as usual. Okay, these people know how to frighten you, and have you paying them all this money every month, and telling you that they're protecting you. Yeah, because it was FDIC was created in 1933 to protect consumers from financial institution fail and are forced to close their doors. And then someone says, usually bank failures are unusual, meaning that they rarely exist. So where's the need for a monthly fee then, if that's the case? If it's unusual for a bank to fail, but we know that's some bullshit. It's just rambling bullshit. That's all it is. Rambling, fucking, confusing bullshit. And like I said, we're so overwhelmed, and and attempting to worry about all that is just, it's stressful. And anybody that says they're not overwhelmed, they fucking lying. And I want you to stop it. God damn it. These are overwhelming situations, and you have to manage that. And people get on computers, get on TV, and act like they got their shit together. Stop that fucking bullshit, fakery. This stuff is overwhelming to mostly women and elderly. These people are overwhelmed with all this bullshit. You're constantly calling them during a close political time. You tell them that they need to go into the bank to resolve issues when they got fraud into their account. They have to get out of there, because I remember this other situation. When I was a first responder, there's this Latino elderly woman that called, and she said she wants to report some type of fraudulent situation with her bank. And they said, well, she only speaks Spanish. I said, well, I don't speak Spanish, but I said I will definitely go out there and see how I can help her. I will definitely be out there. So I went out there. To make a long story short, I went out there, and there was somebody there to interpret, because I wasn't going to use no fucking phone, because they always say call somebody and have some translators. No, there was somebody there that was wanting to help this woman. Now, this woman, I'm not sharing too much about her. She was in her 80s. She had come to this country, and she was she came to this country with no families or friends here. No family, no friends. And they put her up into a kind of a housing development. And she had no family or friends here. And this woman was when she came to this country, it was like 30 years ago. Okay, it was 30 years ago. Again, she had no family and friends here, but because of where she came from, I don't know what country, I can't remember. I'm saying Cuban descent, but I don't know where she came from, and I don't remember, and I'm not gonna fucking say. But anyway, she came into this country like 30 something years ago, and I think she had some kind of she was disabled in some sort of way. I don't know, but anyway, they put her up in this nice. It was a nice housing development, and she has been just sitting there by herself, because like I said, she has no family and friends here. But it was fine. I mean, there's plenty of people of Latino descent that speaks her language. But she, I don't know. I can't remember what happened to her family. But anyway, she was I think she was just separated somehow. She had to be separated from her family, come here to give her a house. Boom, So as she was aging, as she aged, she's in her 80s now, and she couldn't continue to take care of her little house, right? She couldn't take, So what she would do is she hired people, not hired. It was because she's taken care of in regards to her needs. So there was a contract company that would come in and clean up for her and do things around the house so that she didn't have to, kind of provided some service for her. I guess somehow one of them got a hold of her bank account, her bank information, and then, started draining her account, of her money. And so this woman didn't speak Spanish, of course. Didn't speak English. So somebody that's not even a family member had to come in and help this woman to deal with the bank. So every time this elderly Latino woman would call the bank, they always told her that she had to come in. But this woman was disabled, and she had no family or friends. And they said, you got to come in and sign this and sign that, instead of having somebody come out to that woman's house and help her from the bank. But no, she had to get out, and she didn't drive. She's in a wheelchair. So she had to get on public transportation or something to get to the damn bank. And she did that, actually. She did go to the bank once. And they were giving her such a hard time. She became frustrated. And that's when she decided to call the police. Well, she didn't decide to call the police. She didn't know what to do. So she called this woman. Somehow this woman befriended her. I don't know how. So this woman come in, look at the documents, and they realized that her signature was forged on some documentation. It was obvious it was a forgery. So this woman who befriended her took her to the bank, and the bank was still giving them a hard time. Okay, and so that's when they decided to call the police and report fraud. You understand what's going on, and how we treat people, how we treat the elderly, and people of color, mostly black people, and more specifically black women. That's how we treat people. That's how we treat people. And I have another one. I'll talk about that later because I want to finish up doing some things. But yeah, that's how we treat people. And so when I came into the picture, I'm not sure what my role was, but eventually it got resolved. Now it wasn't on my behalf, but it was more so on that woman that befriended this elderly woman that was living by herself, no family or friends around. She was living in an area where she's, it's a secured area. Her outside needs are met. But unfortunately, she had to, she needed help inside, to keep her house clean, because she couldn't do it herself anymore. She was in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? You understand what we are doing and what we're becoming? I'll talk about the other one probably later. Yeah, because I want to do some things first. But consider that. What if that was your mother? Would you want... And she's disabled, in a wheelchair. And she had a problem with a bank account. She called the bank, and for some reason there was a translation issue. And you mean to tell me they don't have Spanish speakers in these banks? They do, and they do have translation service. Okay, so it was a simple situation where someone stole checks, forged her name, and drained her bank account. What's the problem with that? Why did she have to go into the bank and nobody could come to her? You know what I'm saying? Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Okay? I'll discuss the other one kind of later. But I think, to the best of my knowledge, this elderly Latino woman's situation was handled, and she got her money back. Okay, so peace and love. Talk to you again soon.